Prime Minister commissions new gas turbine generator for Leh.
It will go a long way for our people.
Retrenched Telikom staff satisfied with court decision on entitlements. And Unagi Park will remain recreational land.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
Good evening and welcome to Monday's news. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. It's great to have your company once again. Retrenched Telikom staff will be paid their outstanding entitlements after a decision by the court for non-payment of their tax components in 2012. Staff in Port Moresby gathered behind the Telikom Romana building this morning to back the decision by Justice David Cunnings in Madang. They say the decision is a relief.
Not much smiling for the retrenched Telikom staff who gathered this morning to be briefed on the progress of the entitlement payouts. The decision handed down by Justice Cunnings in Madang on Friday is a welcome relief for most who have left work while struggling to live in the city. Lawyer Tau Kamuta is hoping the Telikom board and management will process these payments in the space of 3 weeks as ruled by Justice Cunnings.
They applied for the retrenchment. They took part in the retrenchment exercise because of the NEC decision which exempted tax from their final payout. That's why we have sued, and that the court is now answering them bit by bit.
Over 460 Telikom employees retrenched during 2011 and 2012 while awaiting their final entitlements, which was supposed to be tax-free. However, Telikom imposed tax while paying out entitlements. Aggravated employees then took the matter to the courts.
Because that was a promise they made for the retrenchment exercise, and they didn't live up to that promise. And the court has now found that, has now ruled that Telikom failed in their duty to honor the NEC decision. So they are now ordered, they are now given a court order to make the payments within 3 weeks.
A similar story for other retrenched Telikom staff in Leh and Madang. However, when EMTV contacted Telikom CEO Michael Donnelly, Mr. Donnelly says the management will review Justice Cunnings' decision before taking any further steps. Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
NCD Governor Paus Parkup announced today that the Unagi Park will remain recreational land. His statement comes after the National Court squashed the decision by Lands and Physical Planning Ministry to rezone the area for commercial use. Mr. Parkup said Unagi Park is recreational land for sporting and other activities. UPNG journalism student Eric Harubma has more on this report.
In a media conference this morning, Governor Parkup, in the presence of NCD City Manager Leslie Alu and other office bearers, disclosed that Unagi Park Section 122, Allotment 14 and 15 will continue to function as recreational land.
All the public space in the city and any other land that we needed for purpose of public purposes to be vested with a trustee so that it's like a title. And that will give us more security. So
Parkup said the recent move by former Lands and Physical Planning Minister to convert Unagi Park for open space to commercial rezoning was revoked by the National Court. Mr. Parkup clarified that NCD Physical Planning is an independent body that took leverage in acquiring this land illegally for commercial use. However, NCDC is the sole custodian to all the unused land in the city, including Unagi. It is within its jurisdiction to develop and manage these lands. Like any cities around the world, there must be reserved land available for city residents to use for leisure activities. Unagi Oval is no exception because residents from Moresby Northeast are currently using it for sporting activities.
In any planning of the city, there must be at least 10 to 30% of land must be as open space or recreational land.
In order to acquire public land, people must understand and follow the right procedures to avoid illegal land grabbing. NCD Governor thanked the people of NCD for succumbing and being in good terms with NCDC despite this stalemate situation. Eric Aruma, National EMTV News.
PNG's foreign currency trade is not as bad as it sounds. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said this, adding that the government has put control measures on commercial banks while increasing lending through the business sector. He called for exporters to do business in the country to give confidence in our economy.
In a recent news conference, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill erased speculations surrounding the country's foreign reserves and trade of kina. O'Neill said the government is clamping down on commercial banks in the country while controlling lending and trade through the private sector. He said the economy is struggling but will pick up as the first flow of the LNG revenue is available later this month.
We want them to increase their lending book. We don't want them to increase their foreign currency trading. So that is why we've limited the margins for trading in foreign currency. As a result, there's a bit of tightening that is going on.
O'Neill maintained that the government does not have control over foreign reserves as the central bank performs its task as the regulator. The O'Neill-Dion government assured the country that there is no need to panic as the kina strives to build a country with major infrastructure and government services to the people.
There is no need for us to worry about availability of foreign currency. We've got close to $2.2 billion US dollars of foreign currency and foreign reserves.
Mr. O'Neill called for big players that export to do more business in the country to increase the current lending rate. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
Opposition strongman and Vanimo Green MP Belden Nama has called on the government to re-engage the Special Immigration Task Force set up in 2012. The special force was headed by John Bria and it was responsible for investigating illegal immigrants, illegal logging operations and contracts breached with the aim to protect PNG's sovereignty. However, since the special force was dissolved, there has been an influx of foreigners and illegal immigrants into the country.
Supporters nationwide.
Mr. Nama has re-echoed calls made by Northern Governor Gary Jufa and Chief Secretary to Government Semana Supezureno to re-engage the Special Immigration Task Force to deal with illegal immigrants. The opposition strongman says the issue of illegal immigrants and border incursions are issues close to his heart, as his electorate of Vanimo Green borders PNG's largest Muslim neighbor, Indonesia.
We have to be concerned because they are coming in to take over our land. We've got to protect our sovereign territories, our sovereign land, our sovereign waters.
The influx of foreigners and illegal immigrants has also questioned the capacity of Foreign Affairs and Immigration Department to enforce national security.
There hasn't been any strong leadership by successive prime ministers, successive governments, foreign affairs ministers. They're just sitting around in Waigani and not going and seeing the real physical stuff on the ground.
In 2012, MTV ran a series of stories on the work of Immigration Task Force Unit. The team conducted raids, arrested and deported illegal immigrants back to their countries of origin. Most of the suspects operated trade stores without proper work permits.
Documents, even permit, the simple permit card like driver's license to him. So I'm a suspect no documents.
In this video, MTV's Lay Bureau Chief Scott Wyde was with the task force team when they arrested a Bangladeshi and some foreigners of Chinese origin operating without proper work documents. In the shops operated by foreigners of Chinese nationality, it was discovered by the special force that they paid their staff below the minimum wage, all the while working in harsh conditions.
Inhuman conditions. You're talking about Filipinos to work in inhuman conditions. This is slavery.
That was then. However, within the span of 3 years, it's believed the string of illegal rackets has increased. But whether the Special Immigration Task Force team will be re-engaged depends entirely on Chief Migration Officer and the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ringbing Pato, who are yet to present to government the operations report. Attempts in the past 3 weeks to get comments from them have been unsuccessful. Bridget Comatep, National EMTV News.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and State Investment Minister Ben Micah today launched the new gas turbine generator in Leh City. The launching comes after much controversy following the purchase of the Israeli-made machine. They said the new gas-powered generator is a launch pad for the government's salvo against the critics.
The Prime Minister, during his official statement today, says the government is confident about improving power efficiency in the country.
Today, our people in the Lake City will receive extra 25 megawatts of power. That will continue to provide some reliability, and that reliability will go a long way.
State Investment Minister Ben Maika, who accompanied the Prime Minister to Leh today, says the government's intention is not only to provide reliable power source, but to restore confidence in electricity users.
And they are coming at a time when the power company really needs this supply of power for the consumers of Leh and for the consumers of Port Moresby.
The gas turbine has come at a time as electricity demands continue to increase exponentially in cities like Leh and Port Moresby. The gas-powered generator that cost the government 104 million kina over the past 6 months have went through public criticisms, including the opposition. The PNG Power has also been in the limelight over the past 2 years for frequent power blackouts in various centers all over the country, and to a large extent driven up expenses of businesses. The State Investment Minister says the launching of the turbine is a launchpad for the government's latest salvo against critics who have been criticizing the government's expenditures, and that the event today is the first of many to come.
And I want to say to anybody out there, you can smash us anytime, anyhow you want, in social media, in parliament, and wherever you want to do it. But I want the people to judge for themselves.
Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Leh.
And National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Good to have you back with the news. The newly opened Pacific International Hospital is looking at forming partnerships to make available affordable quality healthcare for every Papua New Guinean. CEO Dr. Amina Sultan said proposals have been submitted to the Health Department to find solutions for public health patients to access specialist treatment facilities like the cardiac and neurosurgical services. Dr. Amina said economical packages should be created for this cause until such services become available in the public hospital system.
The opening of the new Pacific International Hospital has brought much-needed life-saving machinery like the country's first cath lab, MRI and the latest CT scan. Heart surgery will now be available 365 days a year, and PIH also announced it has a retina surgeon for near-blind patients and will be setting up a retinal surgery theatre. But all these world-class medical services cost money. Dr. Amina said PIH is interested and committed to partnering with the Port Moresby General Hospital and other provincial hospitals, the School of Medicine and Health Sciences, national and provincial departments of health, insurance companies and super funds. The common goal would be to create innovative schemes, economical packages to make available affordable quality health care for Papua New Guineans.
All of us must come together in search for effective, homegrown solutions that promise the benefit to all, our patients, the healthcare professionals, the businesses, and the institutions.
Dr. Sultan said they have shared proposals with the Department of Health to find solutions for public patients to access the new services at PIH, including the cardiac and neurosurgical services, until such services become available in public hospital systems. Prime Minister O'Neill said the government would help.
We are not only setting it as a priority, but we are putting the funds behind it. And I'm very glad that the Minister and IPBC are going to partner you on the expansion program that you are going to roll out into the future. I want to assure you that the government will partner you through those agencies or directly in many of the programs that you are going to roll out in this hospital.
Dr. Sultan hopes that the opening of the new PIH will accelerate their role in knowledge and skills transfer to PNG by bringing in highly qualified professionals with clinical experience and advanced knowledge of hospital systems and operations. Delhi Bagu, National EMTV News.
2 more clinical staff of Daro General Hospital have contracted the multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. The number of those infected has increased to 11 and they are under treatment. EMTV's Fabian Hakelitz has more.
Sources from Daro General Hospital have revealed the increasing number of clinical staff contracting the dangerous multi-drug resistant TB. While efforts have been put to control the epidemic, statistics are alarming. With increased cases, patients are diagnosed daily with the bacteria. 2 weeks ago, EMTV visited the site and after conducting investigations, it was found 9 clinical staff contracted the bacteria, 8 multi-drug resistant and 1 extensively multi-drug resistant housed at the isolation ward. But as of today, reports reaching EMTV have indicated 2 more detected. That has now increased to 11. However, 1 staff is also on query awaiting results. Meanwhile, World Vision Australia Chief Executive Officer Tim Costello is concerned about the widespread TB crisis hitting Daro and Western Province.
Our fate is tied up with PNGs, particularly Daro, which is why this urgency is great from Australia, but it's also the suffering of PNG people, 400 who've had MDR. That's terrible suffering.
World Vision will work closely with the National Health Department and other partners to combat the TB epidemic. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Global Fund has once again rescued Papua New Guinea with 3 new grants worth $50 million. These funds will address malaria and tuberculosis and strengthen the health system from 2015 to 2017. Once again, Fabian Hakelitz reports.
3 new agreements signed today, a performance framework to strengthen health system, malaria and tuberculosis. It will be implemented by Rotarians Against Malaria and Population Services International for Malaria and World Vision for TB. Global Fund Executive Director Dr. Mark Dybel said it's a solidarity approach to support and build a healthier life of PNG. The sustainability of these programs is critical with the national and provincial government's core support.
Health traditionally can't do. I mean, if health systems don't end at a health post, they actually have to get deep into the community. Otherwise, you can't possibly achieve success in these 3 diseases or anything else.
PNG Country Coordinating Mechanism for Global Fund Chairperson Lady Roslyn Morauta said these funds will support and further reduce incidents of malaria, acceleration of the TB campaign that has become a very serious public health issue in PNG. 2 malaria grants will fund the distribution of 2.8 million mosquito nets and training of community health workers. It will support quick malaria diagnosis, strengthen monitoring and improve access to care for PNG's most disadvantaged communities. Other $18 million aims to reduce the incidence and prevalence of tuberculosis. It will improve clinical staff recruitment and retention, strengthen systems to enable access to quality drugs and laboratory diagnostics for HIV, TB and malaria, and help build a stronger health system.
We, the government, will play its part. Let me assure you, Dr. Matt. We put in money in our mouths right now, and it's very serious about tackling the...
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Chairman of the West Papua Consultative Committee, Freddie Waromi, wants the PNG government to honor the 1951 UNHCR Refugee Convention. He says as refugees living in PNG, they are still not being recognized by the PNG government. Many of them still do not have access to basic essential services as refugees.
Freddie Waromi has commended the PNG government for its stance on the West Papua issue, but he wants more action taken on a political level from all parliamentarians concerned about the plight of the West Papuans.
Suppose Prime Minister me genuine lo issue below West Papua. Okay. And we can use him veto power belong him or some Prime Minister below Papua New Guinea. Lo urgently convey him one parliament meeting. Now only endorse him or only come up him one law or one act where we can safeguard him. All get West Papuans lo Papua New Guinea or even lo West Papua jet. Usay tole like come na fight long issue below West Papua.
The 2013 extradition treaty signed by the PNG and Indonesian government is a concern for West Papuans living here. Freddie feels the PNG government should be cautious in its approach towards the West Papuan issue, as it has already committed itself to Indonesia under this treaty.
Even the same day, Prime Minister out in Tintin Blongen, Indonesian officials or come out to national newspaper and all talk also. Now people sign him extradition treaty one time Papua New Guinea finish. So whoever regarded as a troublemaker in Indonesia, including Joko Chandra and all the other West Papuans, they should extradited.
The PNG government is a party to the 1951 Refugee Convention. However, little progress has been taken to recognize the rights of West Papuan refugees.
Since independence, since 1975 and after independence, all the government, successive government, even government below today, government below O'Neill Dion government, all must look in West Papua issue or some one home work belong.
According to Freddie, there are 10,000 West Papuans living in Papua New Guinea. Many of them since 1984 did not have their permanent residency status renewed. Their last meeting with the Chief Migration Officer Mataya Rabura was in October last year to discuss their citizenship status. Mickey Cavera, National, EMTV News.
Opposition leader Don Pollier says the fight to free West Papua must be channeled through a collaborative effort through nations in the Pacific. Pollier says Pacific nations can make a difference or make a change by taking the lead through means like the Melanesian Spearhead Group. He hopes the governments can take the lead for open discussions on the Free West Papua campaign.
Like for instance, the Melanesian Spearhead Group, through the Pacific Island Forum, by interacting and working with other countries like Australia, New Zealand, and then the matter taken up to the United Nations level, where that can be seen at an international perspective, to address the issues of self-determination for West Papua, but also taking into consideration the position of Indonesia as a very close land border bilateral friend of Papua New Guinea.
On a related topic, West Papuan youths in the nation's capital have taken the fight for freedom away from politics and centered it on family and friendship. The youths hosted a fun night over the weekend to unite all West Papuan families in Port Moresby to celebrate culture and family relationships. Moreover, West Papuan youths are now becoming more active in their fight for freedom.
West Papuan youths in the nation's capital hosted their love and romance night over the weekend. It was something new to the cause on the fight for West Papua freedom. It united some West Papuans in the nation's capital and created an atmosphere of family and friendship. The aim was to leave the political frontline in the fight for independence and concentrate on the community of West Papuans in Port Moresby. Spokesman Frank Makanui says, unlike before, West Papuan youths in PNG are now playing an active role in the fight for freedom. Makanui says they are generating support from Papua New Guinean youths as well, which is most evident on social media.
When I was growing up, I was afraid to wear anything that has West Papuan flag on it. But you'll find that my children are doing it publicly and they're very bold about it.
The event was also a time to celebrate their culture, something that is widely suppressed in Indonesia. While the national government has made citizenship for West Papuans easier, Makanui says it will help the youths bring the fight for West Papua to another level.
But they grew up here, they know the Western lifestyle, they know the Papua New Guinean lifestyle and system. If the Prime Minister told the 27 heads of department and 27 ministers that they should start thinking about West Papuan issue, then I think we are on the right track.
In recent times, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill made remarks that PNG must take the lead on the issue of West Papua. Since then, other MPs like Oro Governor Gary Jufa and Vanimo Green MP Belden Nama have all come out in support. Stanley Ove Jr., National EMTV News.
And now we check out the finance news. The Kina closed unchanged at $0.3795 in the interbank market, and at Bank South Pacific, your Kina was fetching $0.372, $0.4758 Australian dollars, €0.3233 euro, and 43.72 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, cocoa, and copper closed higher, coffee closed lower, while palm oil, crude oil, and copper closed the day higher. And lastly, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 47 points higher, the ASX closed at 11 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 14 points higher. You're watching National EMTV News tonight. Among stories after the break, the East-West transport closed operations on the highway, and Usino-Bundi's poor road conditions become a hurdle for travellers. Stay with us for the details. Thanks for your company and welcome back to the news. The appalling state of the Highlands Highway has caused the closure of East-West Transport Division's Highlands Highway operations. In a POMSOX announcement today, Steamships Trading Company said it was a sad decision that came after a long review. The continuing terrible state of the Highlands Highway and insecurity left an unsustainable operation. Job cuts and the loss of fleet and inventory will cost the group 15.7 million Kina. The closure will affect many long-term employees. The board and management acknowledge their valuable contributions and wish them well for the future. In Madang, Usino-Bundi's poor road condition is slowly becoming a hurdle for highway travellers. Bus drivers transporting passengers from Lae to Madang have complained about the damage to buses. In 2013, the road had funding for its upkeep from the Madang provincial government, but the cost of contractors stationed along the road full-time became expensive.
This morning, the Masio bus prepares for its trip to Madang. Passengers have been collected and they are now refueling for the 336-kilometer dash to Madang. It's another day of work for bus driver Kingsley Parry and his crew, but they have concerns that extend to the Usino-Bundi section of the Lae Madang highway.
I think during the Christmas period, I'm planning to hold up a middle of the facing. There is still life not one in a run, but the something was a middle of it. But precaution, take precaution around the middle.
But the road was maintained in mid-2013. Much was anticipated during its opening. After the roads had been fixed, local MP Anton Yagama promised economic development and more for the people of Usino-Bundi during his speech. Madang Governor Jim Cass also promised to ensure that funding continued for the upkeep of the last kilometers of ragged road between the Bismarck Ranges before Madang town. He promised on the condition that landowners never ask for compensation.
Suppose tomorrow me harem also you kara compensation me best to be money. You cry long road, no one ask him compensation. You cannot have two things at the same time.
In 2015, this road is slowly becoming a problem for bus drivers and the people who rely on it as a lifeline to get basic services such as health and education.
The fair picture of that road is that maintenance continues, but the geology is very unstable.
Daniel Aloy, Madang's provincial administrator, explained that the geology of the highway doesn't favor continuous maintenance. Aloy explains that a more permanent solution for the Usino-Bundi road problem would be to reroute.
Usino-Bundi or Usino Junction, there is an alternate route that is coming, what we call Usino-Yal Road.
Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News.
Staff at the Finance Department will undergo competency-based training as part of the strategy to improve performance and service delivery mechanism. Acting Finance Secretary Dr. Ken Nangan said an agreement was signed with the University of Papua New Guinea to effect this. Staff will study the Bachelor in Public Sector Accounting program as part of the department's mandatory requirements.
Now, we've done 25 last year, 30 this year, out of the 700 that we want to do.
The Finance Department and the University of Papua New Guinea in November 2014 signed a Memorandum of Understanding for staff to undergo competency-based training to improve performance. The first batch is currently undergoing this 2-year Bachelor in Public Sector Accounting program. The next 30 will be enrolled this year. According to Dr. Nangan, this is a mandatory requirement of an accounting degree aimed to give a chance to its existing staff. The program is internationally accredited and the first of its kind in the country.
This program is designed by a public university to a public service department based on purely business principles and private principles.
Our syllabus is based on the UK syllabus, CIFA, Chartered Institute of Public Finance Managers.
Dr. Nangan said that UPNG alone cannot cater to the 50% to upgrade qualifications. Therefore, other higher learning institutions will be sought after as well.
So much expectation, so much resources are now being pumped down to the provinces and districts. There is an urgency on our part to train as many people as possible.
Competency-based training is part of the requirements under the new Public Service Management Act 2014 to improve performance. This will transform public servants to act in critical areas of leadership, performance management systems and individual productivity. Tokana Hasavi Jr., National EMTV News. Turning overseas now, the US is stepping up aerial attacks against terror groups in the Middle East, but stopping the flood of foreign fighters joining the terror group is much more complex.
Terrorists have flooded into Syria and Iraq from around the world, including just across the Jordan-Iraq border, where ISIS flourishes. And driving along the border, we saw Jordanian tanks and forces deployed as fears grow that ISIS fighters could bring the battle to Jordan. After that shocking execution of the Jordanian pilot burned alive, much of the Arab and Muslim world rallied against ISIS. But that execution and the coalition airstrikes have also galvanized legions of ISIS supporters. Young men like those we met outside a mosque are also inspired to fight.
What is that motivates you to want to go into Syria and fight?
Syrians are our brothers, and when you see how they are being killed, you just have the motivation to go and fight.
Many of those who answered the call to jihad from Jordan have been encouraged by this man, Abu Sayyaf, a well-known radical cleric previously imprisoned for leading anti-government protests. He said ISIS made a mistake by burning the pilot alive, but defended sending extremist fighters to Syria.
This is for the sake of God that we went to fight in Syria.
A fight, he said, that men and women are willing to face prison for or death.
Police in Denmark say the man suspected of carrying out 2 deadly attacks in the capital of Copenhagen had a criminal record. The 2 shootings left 2 people dead and 5 police officers injured.
Denmark is in shock, especially those in the Jewish community who knew the murdered man. And yet many had feared that an incident like this was likely. 37-year-old Dan Ozen had been guarding the door of the synagogue while dozens attended a bar mitzvah party inside, among them many children. A few hours later, the 22-year-old Danish-born suspect was dead. He returned to an address which the police had been keeping under surveillance. They say he shot first, they returned fire. Named by Danish media as Omar El Hussein, he had a criminal record and a violent past, but it was gang-related rather than linked to political or religious extremism.
We do not have a specific concrete knowledge about him being a traveler to conflict zones, Syria, Iraq or other zones.
Later in the afternoon, armed officers raided an internet cafe in a major operation close to where the gunman had been killed. 2 people were taken away for questioning. When the Danish Prime Minister Helle Thorning-Schmidt came to pay her respects at the scene, she spoke of a country which needed to show unity.
We are devastated. Our thoughts goes to his family. We are with them today, but our thoughts goes to the whole of the Jewish community today. They belong in Denmark. They are a strong part of our community, and we will do everything we can to protect the Jewish community in our country.
This all began with an attempt to murder people debating arts and blasphemy in a Copenhagen cafe on Saturday afternoon. 55-year-old documentary maker Finn Norgard was the man killed. The French President François Hollande dispatched his interior minister to Denmark to show solidarity.
The parallels with what happened in Paris last month are striking. First, an attack on those who believe in freedom of speech, then a shooting at a Jewish target. And as you can see, it's provoked a similar public response. The key difference here is that for now, the police believe that the gunman was acting alone.
If that's true, then Denmark's first experience with terrorism began and ended within 24 hours. But the fear hasn't gone away, and it will be felt in other European cities too.
And we continue with our bulletin with Trukai Sports. That's coming up after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Lae City Dwellers registered their first win in the Telikom National Soccer League with a 1-0 victory over Madang FC in Madang last Saturday. Both teams put on a gallant performance in front of a massive crowd at the Laiwaden Oval. Nigel Dabinyaba scored Lae's only point, with goalkeeper Matheson Nasa saving several goal attempts from Madang. EMTV's Silva Sagawa with the wrap-up of this game from Madang.
It was moment of truth for these two neighboring provinces, with hundreds of supporters packed at the Laiwaden Oval in Madang on Saturday. Lae City Dwellers sent in a strong side, led by Raymond Gunemba and Nigel Dabinyaba in the front, and Jepet Tiampo and Valentine Nelson at the back line. The Lae boys were desperate for a win over Madang.
Performance by boys today, me really pleased with them. The way it was, me keeping pressure, even though home ground, but all boy all keeping pressure na containing game. It's full 90 minutes. Me to thank you, Lord. This time, me look big play improvement.
Madang's lineup was also a strong one, led by Alvin Komolong, Max Sengum and Anson Topio. The boys in yellow kept their supporters screaming for goals. After drawing Admiralty and POM FC in the last 2 weekends, the Madang boys have trained hard all week to take on Lae City Dwellers.
Incredible boys to me. Next back game, down, but still, play hard.
Several goal attempts from both sides were unsuccessful, forcing the game to be physical. A dangerous throw on Lae's Raymond Gunemba resulted in Nigel Dabinyaba capitalizing with a goal. Lae had so many goal-scoring chances which were ruled out by match officials.
We got 34 or 5 chances, but we no converting just because too tired work to mind don't play still 1 match. We need strong mind so complete match so finishing touches.
Among the many supporters who turned up to watch the game was Madang Governor Jim Kass. Governor Kass was impressed with the support from the Madang town community.
City Dwellers have won, yes, that's between the two competitions, but if you look at the crowd here, I think soccer has won today. I really appreciate it. And I am very, very happy as a major sponsor of Madang FC to be continue the sponsorship of soccer in the province.
Lae goalkeeper Matheson Nasa was awarded the Jilu Scientific Chemicals Man of the Match for the game. Matheson was instrumental in saving several goal attempts from the Madang side. City Dwellers will take on Besta FC this weekend, while Madang will host Ekari United FC in Madang. Sylvester Gawi, National EMTV Sports.
On a similar note, Madang Governor Jim Kass has thanked the organisers and sponsors of the Telikom National Soccer League for bringing the games to Madang. Governor Kass said that with the law and order problems Madang town is facing, the games are bringing positive changes. Once again, Sylvester Gawi reports.
The Madang governor was among the many supporters who packed the Laiwaden Oval in Madang to show their support to the teams. Governor Kass thanked the organizers for bringing Madang FC's home game to Madang, as this has also brought in positive changes to Madang town.
I'd like to thank Telikom and the National Soccer League for organizing such, and for us in the provinces to take it on board and promote the game of soccer here in the province, and Madang is doing just that.
The small town of Madang has been known over the recent months for a growing trend of petty crimes at bus stops and shopping centers. The movement of people within the town has declined in fear of being attacked by petty criminals. However, in recent weeks, the Madang governor has seen changes in people's attitude.
I really appreciate all the sponsors who are involved, especially from the team in Lae, the team in Madang, and all the other sponsors who are sponsoring and making NSL alive. And presentable to the people in PNG, especially to the soccer followers.
The hosting of NSL games in the town has received widespread support from the Medang community. Soccer has brought together families from different ethnicities to unite and support the teams in the competition. During the round 4 game between Lay City Dwellers and Medang FC on Saturday, the governor was happy with the youth's turnout of people. No major incident was reported on the day.
Medang population has been very, very hungry for some soccer competitions, and to see the crowd here is really appreciated. And I would like to thank my policemen here in Medang, all the local officials, the board of Medang FC, and all those who have been involved.
The Medang governor, as the major sponsor of the Medang FC, says he believes hosting such national competitions in Medang town will help restore confidence in public safety among the residents and business community. Sylvester Gawi, National EMTV Sports.
With the 2015 Pacific Games fast approaching, some countries have expressed their concern regarding safety when in Port Moresby. Games Organising Committee CEO Peter Stewart says he has full confidence in PNG's disciplinary forces.
Responding to questions raised by some countries regarding their safety during the Pacific Games, Peter Stewart has guaranteed the safety of all participating countries. Perception is not necessarily reality. Yes, there are issues to deal with, and at times Port Moresby can be unsafe, but this is no different to any other city in the world. There are some places you don't go to in Sydney or London during the day. Most of it is common sense, said Stewart. With the Games only months away, some countries have expressed their concern regarding their athletes and officials' safety when in Port Moresby during the Games. Stewart is confident in the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary, who will be leading security operations during the Games, and he believes they have put adequate work into their preparations for the Games. He assures all countries, saying that more than 2,500 security staff from the PNG Royal Constabulary, the PNG Defence Force and the Australian Federal Police will be providing security. Stewart also said there are not any legitimate terrorist threats in PNG at hand, which was another concern raised. Although we must remain vigilant at all times, there is no direct threat to the Games. Dion Kombeng, National EMTV Sports.
And True Crime Sports continues after the break. Stay tuned.
True Crime Sports.
Welcome back to True Crime Sports. The Papua New Guinea women's basketball team had a farewell lunch today before departing for the Philippines. They will be joined by 2 Australian-based players before attending the annual Perlas Discovery Cup Women's International in Davao City, Philippines. The tournament comprises of 3 countries, including Papua New Guinea.
Once joined by the 2 overseas-based squad members, the team will take on 2 other countries, in-host Philippines and Turkmenistan at the tournament. The girls have been hard at training in the High Performance Center in the build-up to this tournament, with the help of their trainer Hannah Ilave and head coach Talo Green. Green says he's confident the team will perform well at the tournament.
This is an opportunity. The team will be split into 2 teams, so everybody's going to have an equal opportunity to play in the static game and to be able to evaluate. Everything's completely transparent. So it's not a situation where some people won't feel as if they get an opportunity to get out on the court. Everybody's going to get that court time.
Assistant coach Salapi Marapa has recently joined the team. Her experience from being a gold medalist at the 1991 Games invaluable to the women's team.
Moving forward, the girls really need to focus for the Games in July. And I know they're going to do it.
Team representative Diane Hani said it was a great opportunity for the girls to prove themselves to their new head coach.
It's about winning gold, so we go as a team, we play as a team, we come back, and we're fighting us all the way.
From the current 20, the team will be trimmed down to 15, with the final 12-member squad to be announced after the tournament. Shane Soria, National EMTV Sports.
Overseas to NRL, young Tiger James Tedesco is desperately hoping that this will be the year his career kicks off after 2 seasons worth of injuries.
It's been a long 8 months, but James Tedesco thinks he's ready.
It's feeling really good. Had a good pre-season under JT and the strength and conditioners there, so
Hoping to get a bit of game time this week in the trial.
Visiting his old school, St Paul's Primary in Camden, as part of the NRL's Community Carnival, Tedesco reflected on his luckless 2014 when the fullback season was destroyed by a kneecap fracture in late June. It was a devastating blow for the 22-year-old, who was in outstanding form after returning from a knee reconstruction.
You were having a cracking season and bang, you cracked your patella. What were you thinking when you were lying on the ground then?
Yeah, pretty devastating. Obviously, it was the first sort of tackle of the game. Only a few seconds in, I do that, and I don't really know what to put it down to. Whether it's just bad luck or those sorts of things.
Regardless of whether he plays this week's trial against the Sharks, Tedesco is aiming for round 1 and believes his greatest asset, his speed, is back.
Doing everything, stepping and accelerating, it feels great. So I'm feeling fast. Hopefully, it looks fast.
With young guns Luke Brooks at half and Mitchell Moses at 5'8", the West Tigers have the makings of an all-star 1-6-7 combination.
Very exciting. Obviously, those two boys are really close off the field, us three, and hopefully we can build a big combination. I don't think I've played a game with Mitch so far, but I worked a pretty good combination with Luke early last year.
And that's how we wrap up our True Guys Sports segment tonight. But stay tuned. I'll be back with the weather details for the next 24 hours.
True Kai Sports.
A quick look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in southern region, the nation's capital. Cloudy periods with squally showers and rain expected as well. In Momase, evening showers expected in Madang, cloudy weather with rain periods in Leh City. In the New Guinea Islands, evening showers and thunderstorms expected in Buka. And in the Highlands region, evening showers then morning fog anticipated in all centres. And that ends the bulletin this Monday. I'm Tokana Hasavi. Thanks heaps for your company. You take care and stay safe. Good night.